What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the Wraparound. We're going to be breaking down the NHL action going down on Thursday, October 24th, 2024. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily $15 best bet, head on over to Pickdawgz.com and click the Premium Picks tab at the top of the page. We only had one game yesterday. Nailed it with the Washington Capitals. Hope you guys got in on the free premium pick yesterday. Here on the Wraparound, like I said, I'm not going to be able to do that every day, but want to give back to you guys for tuning into the Wraparound. Appreciate all your love and support so far out of the gate, and we're going to try to keep rolling that over here. This is a bit of a tricky card on Thursday. You know, some games that I don't necessarily love from like a price perspective, or just, trying to figure out, I think it's just a 50-50 game, or I could see the case made for either side, but we're going to talk about that. There are some games that I do love, though, so let's not waste any more time. You guys know the drill. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game comes to us from the Scotiabank Arena, where the Toronto Maple Leafs will take on the St. Louis Blues. And, the Maple Leafs did not look good in that game against the Columbus Blue Jackets last time out. They got absolutely crushed by a final score of 6-2, and they've now alternated wins and losses in each of their last four. But I think that was just a tricky spot for the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they were coming off one of only two teams on the second half of a back-to-back, with the Lightning being the other. I know the Lightning crushed the New Jersey Devils in their second half of the back-to-back, but Toronto just struggled in that game. And more importantly, I think it was a case of Dennis Hill to be the backup goalie for Toronto. He's just not NHL ready. And, I think that the Leafs going to probably go back to Anthony Stolarz here. And Stolarz has been outstanding. I still think that, if you've been following the Leafs, I think that Stolarz should be the number one goalie for Toronto. I watched him live against the Lightning. He was outstanding, made a ton of fantastic saves. I think he could be the difference for the Leafs here. The Blues, they've just been inconsistent in their own right. And while this price is tempting with the St. Louis Blues, I still think Toronto can get the job done. They've had a lot of success in past seasons against St. Louis. And, for me, if I'm the St. Louis Blues, I want Jordan Binnington to be able to be my number one guy. But Binnington has been less effective. It's been Joel Hofer, the backup, that's been the better of the two goaltenders this season. And for me, that just means that I just can't trust, Binnington to hold it down. I just kind of think that the other shoe is going to drop with Hofer at some point soon. So I'm going to go with the Leafs to win this one in regulation at -145. I'm also going to lean towards the puck line here with Toronto. Speaking of the Lightning, now we head to Amalie Arena for a matchup between the Lightning and the Minnesota Wild. And this is going to be a pretty good matchup, I think. You have two teams that already have 4 wins this season in 6 games. The Lightning 4-2 straight up. The Minnesota Wild have picked up points in all 6 of their games this season. And I'll be the first one to admit, I was wrong about the Minnesota Wild. I said I didn't trust the goaltending coming into the season. And Minnesota has come out of the gate playing extremely well, extremely competitive. They've now won 3 straight games on this road trip. They've allowed 1 goal in each of those 3 games. So I do think Minnesota could stand up and be accounted for here. But I also don't want to count against the Tampa Bay Lightning at home. Andrei Vasilevskiy was absolutely rattled against Toronto in that game. And Toronto got to him early and often, chased him in the second period. And, the Tampa Bay Lightning, with the Tampa Bay Lightning, you don't usually see Vasilevskiy get rocked in back-to-back starts. He's been one of the best goaltenders in the NHL for some time now, and it's not by accident. And I think Vasilevskiy shows up here. For me, this feels like a 1-3 wins kind of game. I could see it going 3-2 either way if you wanted to look at a correct score prop. But I'm going to go with the under 6 in this one. I think this is going to be a bit of a goaltending battle between these two teams. Now we head to Madison Square Garden for a matchup between the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers, two of the premier teams the last few years in the Eastern Conference. But the thing for me in this one is that, while the Florida Panthers are your defending Stanley Cup champions, they haven't necessarily felt all that consistent. They're still just 4-3-1, so basically 500 so far this season. And they can never really find their footing. I mean, they had the back-to-back wins over Boston and Columbus, but that's the only time they've had consecutive wins so far this season. For me, I look at this game and sure, the Panthers are coming off a loss, so maybe they could bounce back, but I'm looking at this game another way. This is a revenge spot of revenge spots for the New York Rangers, who was one of the best home teams in the NHL last season. Now they get a chance to get a crack at a Panthers team that knocked them out of the postseason last year when a lot of Ranger hype was there after they had won the President's Trophy. And I think the Rangers are going to be able to come out with some fire in this game as well. They are 1-0-1 at MSG so far this season, but I still think that the Rangers are just playing extremely well right now. They've won 4 in a row. They've allowed 2 goals or less in 4 straight games and 2 goals or less in 5 of their 6 this season. So give me the New York Rangers here on the money line at -150. Now we head to the TD Garden for a matchup between the Boston Bruins and the Dallas Stars. And these are two teams that, have been two of the better teams as well in the NHL over the last few seasons. And historically, this matchup has gone the way of the Boston Bruins. They've won 4 straight meetings, 7 of 8, and 8 of the last 10. But I'm not jumping to back the Boston Bruins after getting shut out in Nashville. They were held to 1 goal combined in the last 2 games of their recent road trip, and they were shut out by a then winless Nashville Predators team that finally got off the schneid. And now you take on a Dallas Stars team that has one of the better 1-2 punches in goal in the NHL in Jake Ottinger and Casey DeSmith. Ottinger got roughed up a little bit by the Buffalo Sabres, and DeSmith, last time we saw him, was in a 3-2 loss to the Capitals. But these are still 2 fantastic goaltenders. On the other side for Boston, they still got Jeremy Swayman, who has been solid in his own right. And, the Dallas Stars have lost each of their last 2 road games, and they've scored 2 goals in each against the Sabres and the Capitals themselves. So to me, this feels like another one of those 3-2 kind of games. If we even get there, I'm going with the under 5.5 between the Sabres and the Stars and the Bruins. Now we're heading to a matchup between the Detroit Red Wings and the New Jersey Devils from the Little Caesars Arena. And this is one of the games that I was having trouble with because, the New Jersey Devils have had the upper hand in this series, but the goaltending is back to being an issue for New Jersey. They gave a combined 14 goals in their 2-game homestand against the Lightning and the Capitals. And we've seen New Jersey be able to take care of business on the road. They have a 3-1 record on the road. So it's sort of which New Jersey team shows up here. That being said, this is a Detroit team that has still been struggling to score. They've scored 2 goals or less in 3 of their last 4. And there's not going to be a lot of times where you can get away winning a hockey game 1-0 like the Detroit Red Wings did against the New York Islanders in their last matchup. I just still don't love the goaltending situation for the Detroit Red Wings. And while it's not that much better with the New Jersey Devils, I still feel that maybe the New Jersey Devils are the slightly better team from a roster standpoint. So I'm going to lean towards the Devils here at -160, but again, this is a really tough game to figure out. I don't love the price, but I do think the Devils get the win here. Now we head to the Delta Center for a match between the Utah Hockey Club and the Colorado Avalanche, and another game where I'm still kind of on the fence and not one that I'm rushing to the window to bet because the Colorado Avalanche do come in on a 3-game win streak. They finally started to right the ship, but those wins came against the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, who are still 2 teams that I'm really not all that sold on, and a narrow win over the Seattle Kraken in a game that was, back and forth for the better part of the first 2 periods before, Seattle pulled a late one back, but it was too little too late at that point. Utah, this is a Utah team that got shut out by Ottawa at home last time out. However, when you look at these 2 teams and, sort of the history between these 2, obviously Utah being the Arizona Coyotes prior to this season, even when they were the Coyotes, they were really competitive against the Colorado Avalanche, and those games came with heftier prices than what we're seeing here. And keep in mind, these games last season we had seen between the I guess Utah/Arizona and Colorado came with a lot of the same players on these 2 teams, a lot of the same roster makeup, and these were games where the Avalanche were -300 favorites. So right now we're only seeing it at +115 for Utah. I think that's kind of telling. And I think Utah, the home ice advantage I think is going to be there for Utah this season. Again, not a game I'm rushing to the window to bet, but something just feels off about this game. So I'm going to lean towards Utah here at plus money at home. Now we head to this matchup from the Scotiabank Saddledome between the Calgary Flames and the Carolina Hurricanes. And I promise you guys, there are going to be games that I do like on this card. But again, another tricky one because you have 2 teams here. The Calgary Flames, who have gotten off to one of the best starts in the NHL this season. Not the best, because you still have teams like the Winnipeg Jets that have been playing out of their minds. But Calgary, the first time in franchise history they've started the season with points in 6 straight games. after rallying for a 4-3 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're playing extremely well. They take on a Carolina Hurricanes team that has had some success as of late. They've allowed 2 goals or less in 3 of their last 4, picked up wins in those games. They're coming off a win over Edmonton. But I just think that the value here is on Calgary. I just think that this is one of those things where you just keep striking while the iron's hot and keep riding the hot hand. No pun intended, considering these are the Calgary Flames. But Carolina, I understand why they're favored here, but part of me just thinks this is maybe name brand for the Carolina Hurricanes. They're still one of the better name teams in the NHL, from a historical perspective, and that the expectation is that Calgary isn't supposed to do much, and maybe the other shoe is going to fall at some point, but I don't think it's here. I mean, it could be here. That's why I put lean here, because it could it's not one of my strongest plays here, but I'm going to take a shot here on the Flames here at plus 140. Speaking of those Winnipeg Jets, we're going to watch them in action here at Climate Pledge Arena as they take on the Seattle Kraken. I'm going to steal a line, and I guess I should say borrow a line, at least, because we share it back and forth between myself and one of my good friends in this industry, Tony Brown. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Winnipeg Jets, like I said, gone off to a strong start this season. They can do no wrong early on this year. They've won each of their first 6 games. 3 of those have been by a single goal, but we've also seen 6-3 wins over Pittsburgh and an 8-3 win over San Jose. They saw the 6-0 win over the Edmonton Oilers to start the season. And while the Seattle Kraken have a winning record out of the gate, they've had some hiccups in their last couple games. They've only scored 2 goals in back-to-back home games. And like I said, until I see the Jets really start to stumble, I'm going to keep riding them, especially when we're getting reasonable prices, and especially with the way that Connor Hellebuck's looking right now in early season Vezina form. So give me the Winnipeg Jets here at the reasonable price. Our final game comes to us from the Crypto.com arena, where the Los Angeles Kings take on the San Jose Sharks. And for me in this one, this is just a game where I think we've kind of been priced out of it. But the only way for me to go here is to take the Kings on the puck line. The Sharks are in mid-season form, and that's not a good thing considering how bad this team was last year. 0-5-2 to start the year. The Sharks have scored 1 goal in back-to-back games, 3 goals or less in 6 straight, and 2 goals or less in 5 of those games. And now you take on a Los Angeles Kings team that finally gets their home opener. This is a Kings team that, hasn't had a ton of success. They've dropped 4 of their last 6. And, it is what it is. But like I said, they finally get their home opener after playing their first 7 games of the season on the road. I think that the Kings were simply road weary at that point. And I think that getting back home here in front of, friendly faces and getting to take on a San Jose Sharks team that just looks lost right now, I think it's a bad spot for San Jose. I'm going to take the Kings on the puck line to round things out. That's it. That's all the NHL action for Friday, October 24th, 2024. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets, the games that I love, head to pickdawgz.com and click the premium picks tab at the top of the page. Gonna have a couple NHL plays on the board. Got a college football play on the board as well. I'm currently number 3 on the college football leaderboard, so hoping to keep that rolling into Thursday's action. Gonna have an NBA play on the board as well, so definitely check that out. But this is the best time to hop on long term, because you're gonna get my Saturday college football action. I have a big card lined up for Saturday. In there, you're gonna get Friday's action, probably some college football, some NHL. The World Series is going to start up on Friday. NBA mixed in. You're going to get NFL Sunday. And all that is less, and I can only speak for myself, less than buying each of Saturday's daily packages individually for a 3-day pass. So definitely something that you want to make sure that you take advantage of. But whatever you do, you can get a daily pass as well. Whatever you do, use that promo code PICK at checkout to get 15% off your purchase. But again, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me. Thank you so much for tuning into the Wraparound. Let's cash some winners. We'll see you guys.